Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chair Mallory, for being here. Again, thank you for the hearing, Mr. Chairman, and thanks for teeing up that question because I want to elaborate on it a little bit, ask you to as well. Because I'm looking at the White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council's Justice 40, some of the conclusions that they drew, and it's going to get me to my first question. Some of the conclusions, for example, examples of the types of projects that will not benefit a community. Here's a list from your fossil fuel procurement, development, infrastructure repair that would in any way extend lifespan or production capacity, transmission system investments to facilitate fossil fire generation or any related subsidy, highway expansion, that certainly wouldn't help any community, road improvements or automobile infrastructure other than electric vehicle charging stations. Really? Industrial scale bioenergy, God forbid that would happen in a community. That certainly wouldn't be good. So, critical to me in these discussions. So around social justice and what's not good for the community. I've been participating, a number of us have, in a bipartisan discussion right now as we speak these weeks on trying to find a bipartisan energy environment and energy climate plan that we could agree on, that would forward reliable power, whether it's for vehicles or for electricity, at the same time meeting certain goals. I think you've been talking in circles, frankly, but I think I understand you just try to find a balance. You're talking about balance, right? We have demands. We have an economic demand. We have national security demands. We have Europe pleading with us for our natural resources because they've voluntarily cut themselves off of Russia's natural resources. But critical to all of this, in my mind, is a prioritization of commercialization of emerging technologies. Emerging technologies, particularly in the power sector, that would also reduce emissions. Technologies like carbon capture, utilization, and storage, listed as one of the things that don't help communities, for example. Direct air capture, also listed in the White House document as something that doesn't help communities. Emission-free nuclear power generation. I don't know how you could want to advance nuclear or advance cleaner energy and not be for nuclear. Anyway, so I want to remind you that President Biden's emission goals say that carbon capture, utilization, and storage, and nuclear are critical components to reaching the targets. And then you have this Environmental Justice Advisory report stating they believe CCUS will not benefit communities. And CEQ says environmental justice considerations must be incorporated into all permitting decisions. Some who see these really are left with some pretty obvious questions. Does the administration actually support CCUS and nuclear? Do they actually support all communities, or are there only certain communities? And if so, why are they simultaneously making it harder for these types of projects to get permitted? Help me find the balance here.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, thank you for the question, Senator. I appreciate what you're struggling with. I mean, one of the things that the president is trying to do through the environmental justice work, and I think was critical in his interaction with the communities during the campaign and that was reflected in early executive orders, is he wants the authentic voices of communities to be heard, to be elevated, to be part of the conversation. And what you read, the recommendations that we heard from the Environmental Justice Advisory Council, that is their reflection of their authentic voices. That doesn't mean that every single item there the president shares exactly that view with. He has also been very clear, I think, through the campaign, throughout early activities, that we think that technology is an important part of the solution for decarbonizing the environment, that we have to not only work hard to reduce the emissions of carbon, but we also are probably not going to be able to do it sufficiently without removing having some technology that can help remove environment. So I think the president has been clear about what his views are on that.
Well, I don't think it's clear at all. I think it's very confusing, quite honestly. I don't think there's anything clear about it. What I'd like, I wonder if anybody, when they do these surveys or they're talking to these communities, if they ever ask the question, how would it be if your natural gas gets turned off in the middle of winter? Or how about the air conditioning gets turned off because there's no electricity because God forbid we have nuclear power or carbon capture utilization on a coal-fired power plant, and we're only going to rely on the wind on the days that it blows. I mean, what is the process for coming up with crazy? I mean, frankly, this is like cartoonish. This Justice 40 document. So I don't think the president's clear at all. I think the president sends confusing messages. I think investors see them as confusing, if not hostile, quite honestly. I prefer him to remain committed to carbon capture, utilization, storage, and nuclear, frankly, as parts of the solution. I'll get to some more questions in another round. Thank you.
Before I turn to Senator Whitehouse has not returned yet. So I think maybe we're going to go to Senator Padilla next. Is that correct? Before I do that, let me just say, my colleague knows
Hello, Mr. Chairman.
Hold on just for a second, please. Let me say to Senator Cramer. Senator Cramer, I think you know how strongly I feel about nuclear. Old Navy guy, 70 years I've been doing nuclear in the Navy, and I think you have an idea as the Navy of West Virginia what I think about CCUS. So I think we poised to do good things there.
I don't worry about you.
Thank you. I wish more people felt that way.
I don't even worry about Senator Whitehouse.
All right.
I rather like him.
Senator Whitehouse has rejoined us. Okay, and I think after him, I think maybe it's Senator